Okay, so in section 2, we're trying to interpret key features of linear, quadratic, and absolute value functions, the important things that we remember from previous years. So let's see here. Things like x-intercepts. What is an x-intercept? What's a y-intercept? And obviously, that is where the graph crosses the x-axis. And of course, oops, that is not what I wanted. And then, of course, over here, we would have the y-axis. So, x-axis, y-axis. Pretty straightforward, right? Where it crosses. Obviously, the x-axis being the horizontal and the y-axis being the vertical. Any x-intercept is also known as a zero of the function. Okay? Key term there is zero. Okay? So that's the important term, zero. A car starts on a journey with a full tank of gas. Okay? The equation y equals negative 0.05x plus 16 relates the number of gallons of gas y left in the tank to the number of miles the car has traveled x. Okay, so that must mean we started with 16 gallons. Okay, so right there is very obvious information. That's my y-intercept, right? Because when the x value is 0, that means we have 16 gallons to start. Okay, and then state the x-intercept. Okay. Hold on a second. Well, to find that x-intercept, we're going to have to... Now, you can easily tell from the picture. They already gave me the picture. 320 miles, right? 320 miles. To do what? To empty the tank. So basically, you have 320 miles before you're going to be walking to a gas station. Okay? Not a good feeling. I've done it one time, and I don't ever want to do it again. Okay? Now, how would I find that algebraically? Okay. I've already answered what does the x-intercept represent for this situation because I just put it right there. How about the y-intercept? Already put it up there. Okay, so we kind of answered all the questions. But how would I find that x-intercept? Well, we would plug in a 0 for y, and then we would solve this equation. And so you can think about moving probably the negative 0.05x would go over to the other side. 0.05x equals 16. And then you would divide both sides by 0.05. And that's where you come up with x equals 320. Pause anything if you need to before we move on to our next slide. Okay. Intervals where a graph is positive. Positive means exactly what you think it means. Above x-axis. Wow, that is really horrible. I gotta type that. That is ridiculous. Why it's writing like that. So, where the graph is above the x-axis. Where the graph is below the x-axis. So we can see that this section of the graph is above the x-axis. So that would be a positive interval from negative infinity to 2. Please do not include the 2. What happens at 2? the graph, the y value is 0. So is that positive or negative? Neither. This means that 2 is not included in the interval because it's not positive or negative. Well, so you might be looking at me going, well, Mr. Stailey, does that mean it's included in the other one? No, it's not included in the other one because that goes from 2 to positive infinity. Now, I understand that a lot of you get these things mixed up because you think, well, Mr. Stailey, how can you call negative infinity a positive number? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, negative infinity is way over here to the left and positive infinity is way over here to the right. We're splitting this up into a chunk here and then another chunk over here. And the first chunk to the left is all positive y values. And the second chunk to the right is all negative y values. The interval that I'm writing describes where that is happening. Now, as you can see here on this next one, we've got 2 positive sections. 2 positive sections. So, we know that negative infinity way over here to the left, then we got -2, then we've got +4, and then we've got positive infinity on the far right side. So what's a bad looking negative infinity? So for positive, I got negative infinity to -2. Now I'm going to use a symbol, and I'm going to use, I should write this a little bit smaller, so maybe I should back this up. So negative infinity to -2. I'm going to use this symbol right here. Now, what does that symbol stand for? It stands for the word union. Okay. It's another, a close word in the English language could be the word or. Now, I have seen different Algebra 2 teachers just put a comma and, just this one, comma, this one. But I'm going to step up your mathematical game and show you the union symbol because that's what they use in pre-calc. So that way you're not caught off guard and say, I've never seen that before. Now, where is it negative? Well, that would be this big chunk in the middle, right? So that would be from -2 to +4. Everything in between those, that interval, all the y values are negative. Okay? So next one over here, we've got a positive interval right there from -3 to +1. And then, of course, we got this section and this section. So that's negative infinity to, negative infinity to -3, negative infinity to -3, union, +1 to positive infinity, right? Because remember, you've got positive infinity over here, negative infinity over here. And we're stopping at -3 and +1 on the middle parts there. Pause if there's any reason that you need to copy something down. Okay, next slide. Intervals where a graph is increasing. That would be where the slope is positive. Intervals where the graph is decreasing, slope is negative. Now, another way to see this is to imagine moving from left to right through a graph, okay? Kind of like, and you're on a roller coaster. What's happening to you? Are you going up or going down? Okay, so think about it like that, going left to right, and you're on a roller coaster. What's happening as you're going from left to right through this graph? Well, the whole time you're going up, 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 up. So That's telling me right there that from negative infinity, which is over here on the left, to positive infinity, which is over here on the right, we are always, always, always going up. There is no decreasing part of this graph at all. Well, it has everything to do with the fact that no matter where you're at on that graph, you always have a positive slope. Every point has a positive slope. Now, once again, as you move from left to right through the graph here, this section is going down, right? If you were on a roller coaster doing this part, you'd be coming down. So from negative infinity to positive 4, we are decreasing. But as soon as I get to 4, right, over here at negative infinity, you get to 4 in the middle where it stops and it changes direction, and then going back up, 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 4 to infinity. Back on the up part, going back up. Okay, next one. So remember, negative infinity on the left, positive infinity on the right. So we can see that there's a break right here in the graph at negative 3. What's happening on this part of the roller coaster as you move from left to right? You're going up. So from negative infinity to negative 3, we're going up. And from negative 3 to positive infinity, we're coming down, right? Because, you're at the top of the roller coaster and you're continuing to the right, it's going down. So that's increasing and decreasing and how to tell the difference between them. Pause if you need to look at any of that again. Well, okay, let's see what happens when I ask you all those kind of questions about a situation, all right? What is the equation here? Well, of course, this is a linear function, and it is a simple one. Y equals 3. Very, very basic and easy. Write the linear equation for the graph, then identify where the graph is increasing or decreasing. Okay? So, wait a sec. As I move from left to right, I'm not going up or down. It's like this is not what you want your heartbeat to do. Gee whiz. So, none, no positive, no positive. Ooh, I shouldn't say that. What am I doing? That's increasing and decreasing. None on the increasing, none on the decreasing, right? Because it's just staying flat. What about positive? Well, that whole doggone thing's above the x-axis. So that would be negative infinity to positive infinity. What about negative? None of that graph is below the x-axis, so that would be a none. Let's see what else we got here. Sketch a graph that meets the following key features. Okay, domain from negative 4. Oops. So from negative 4, and it goes over to positive 4. All right. Range from negative 4 all the way up to 6. Okay, so that's kind of the boundaries here. It's increasing from negative 4 to 1. Maybe I should see where it's positive and negative first. Ooh, let's do the intercepts. Yeah, that's a smart idea. Negative 2, 0. Okay. 3, 0. And 0, 4. Okay, so this is important that we put our So, kind of got our guidelines with our domain and range, right? So, but very, very important that you attach these points to the graph before you start doing other things. Okay, let's see here. From negative 2 to positive 3, from negative 2 on the left to positive 3, the whole graph is positive. Okay, so since I see the y-axis up there, it must do something like this. I mean, now, does it have to have a curve to it? Could it be just a stick straight, like an absolute value thing, sure, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I just made it curvy. So from -4 to 2, so that'd be from -4 to 2, it is negative. And we know it has to start out down here. So I'm going to start down here, come up. And from 3 to 4, it is also negative. And we know it stops at 4, 6. Okay, now let's check these other things to see if they agree. Increasing. Is it increasing from -4 all the way to 1? Is that increasing? Well, my picture is not quite right, because that means it would have a little tiny point right there. So I'm going to have to erase a little bit of my graph. Oh, plus it goes up to a high value of 6. So to be quite honest, come on, get rid of that red dot. Okay, to be honest, oops, got rid of my y-intercept. It has to have a high point at 1, 6, all the way up there. So my graph has to go up, 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 max out at 1, 6, and then come back down. Okay, now let's see what else we got here. Range. Oh, no. Decreasing from 1 to 4. That's right. That whole section is decreasing. It's going down, 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 down. So we got it fixed. So important that you start here. This is where I would start. Second, I would go to here. But then third, I have to think about increasing, decreasing. Now, I guess maybe, maybe I did at the very beginning put down my domain in range on the side. That kind of helped me. So maybe I should back up and say 1, kind of sketch the outside. Oops, can't spell. So, man, let's sketch. So here's my domain. Here's my range. Just sketched them on the outside. 2, I went to the x and y intercepts. 3, I went to the positive and negative. 4, I went to increasing, decreasing. That's kind of the order I would go in to figure this out, because as you can see, I had a pretty good idea, but when I hit that increasing and I was like, wait a second, I'm wrong about where I put that high value, which didn't agree with my range anyway. My range said I needed to go up to 6, and I was only stopping at 4. So that's where I was wrong too. Anyway, those are some key features and how you need to do that. Hopefully that helps, and we can answer questions in class.